Michael Jackson, beat it.
What's up, everybody? This is Lawrence Ryan coming to you for the Rebel Tunnel vlog. In this episode, we are going to do an unboxing, install, and review of the Arlo Ultra 2 security camera. Now, to be clear, this is not a sponsored video by Arlo or anybody else for that matter. So if you want to help out the channel, please do so by subscribing and or following. Hit that bell for notifications so you get informed when the new videos and premieres are coming. Click on that like button and leave me a comment down below. There's also some links down in the description that can help the channel as well. All right, as with any product that I review on this vlog, I wouldn't even consider it unless there is a good deal to be found on it, as was the case with this kit. The prices on these have come down dramatically, and I will leave information on that in the description if you're interested in these cameras. All right, as far as the camera itself goes, this is a completely wireless security camera, meaning you don't need to connect any wires to a monitor or anything like that. They have been listed. I've seen them listed in the top 5 and the top 10 of the security camera reviews that I've seen online for the past year and a half, so they're getting some pretty good press. I know that Arlo, the company that makes these, did come up with the first security camera with 4K resolution, so that's kind of cool. They are a spin-off. Arlo is a spin-off from Netgear, the company Netgear, and those guys make routers, so they probably have some information and some knowledge about connectivity, which is also pretty cool. But we will put all those declarations to the test in this video. All right, so without any further ado, shall we? All right. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, shall we dance? Oh wait, that movie, not the movie with Tina Fey in 2016. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, shall we dance is a quote from an earlier movie, I think Apocalypse Now or Platoon or something. I know I heard it in something else, probably like a helicopter pilot says it. If you know what movie that quote comes from, leave me a comment in the description, let me know. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, shall we dance? All right, let's see what we got here. All right. There's the kit, the Arlo 2 camera Ultra 2. I gotta get this plastic off here. This way so you guys can see. Oh, wait a minute. It's one of these guys. It's a slider. Haha. Fancy. All right, now we got the regular box. Okay. These are the cameras themselves, right on the top. I'll show you how that's packed. That comes in like that, form fold on the top, or molded on top. Well, got batteries, rather large batteries, but batteries nonetheless. Here we go. This is the smart hub that comes with this, Arlo Smart Hub, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And what else we got? Oops, sorry. We got a charger. I'm assuming that is for the Smart Hub. Some more in here too. Mounting hardware. These guys. One of those. Always feels like Christmas. Another mounting hardware piece. This guy for both cameras. What is this? Screws for mounting and hollow wall anchors. I'm looking for some kind of manual. I know there's got to be one in here. Nope, no manual. Very strange, Penny Lane. Maybe this. What do we have here? This is the Arlo setup guide and a sticker. So there is a setup guide, which is good. No particular manual. I suppose you can get that online. So everything seems to be there. It all seems to be in good shape. It seems to be new. All right. So as I said before, we will put all of these declarations and features to the test in this video and see what we got. Guess it's time to install these. Here we go. Okay, so the concept is to mount the camera underneath this soffit right here. Now the soffit itself is aluminum. It's a little bit lightweight to hold the weight of the camera, so what I want to do is bridge the track with some aluminum stock, which I got from Home Depot, some 1/8 inch aluminum stock, and that should hold it up. So I got to cut that, measure it for the mount, drill out the holes, and there we have it. All right, so that wasn't that hard to mount. You could see it right there under the soffit, right there. And we'll take a look now and see what we got for features and see how this bad boy works. All right, so the connection setup for these cameras is fairly straightforward. The first thing you're going to do is to download the free app from the App Store or the Play Store. And the app will prompt you to set up your smart hub. And that's also pretty straightforward. What you do there is you just connect the Ethernet cable that comes with it to the back of the smart hub and into your router. Then hook up the AC power to the smart hub. You should then see a status light on the front of the unit. The app will then pair your device with the smart hub, and you will then be prompted to update the firmware on the smart hub, which you can also do at a later time. After that's done, you can name your network whatever you'd like. You're then going to want to power up your cameras. The smart hub will then detect and locate those cameras for you, and it will pair with them. You name your cameras whatever you wish, and that is pretty much it for the setup. All told, it took about 10 minutes. All right, with regard to streaming, I just wanted to say something. A few seconds after I had done the setup that we just talked about, just for fun, I went into the app, I went to the devices page, and I clicked on the play button, and it immediately started streaming the camera. High definition, 4K, right to my phone. I did not expect that. I mean, it was seamless. I didn't have to do anything else. I didn't have to call tech support. I didn't have to go on email anybody. It just worked. And that was quite refreshing to have that. Also, if you remember when I was setting these cameras up, installing them, the sky behind me was very gray. That turned into a full-on blizzard, which I then watched from the warmth of my apartment on my phone. Again, I was astounded. It was pristine. The picture was pristine. You had the wind whipping. You could hear the wind whipping, and the trees were moving, and the snow was blanketing everything, and it was right there. And I was amazed that it was just working. Continued to stream for hours. I put the phone down and went to sleep. Got up in the morning and walked over to the phone, and it was still streaming. I didn't realize I had left the app open, but it was still streaming. So that opens up some possibilities there. If it's got continuous streaming capacity like that, you could use that, almost like a closed circuit idea. Put basically a smart TV or an iPad or something up with the app on it. You could have it continuously streaming in your office. Lots of possibilities there. So we're all familiar with notifications. We get them all the time on our smartphones and our smart devices from email apps and text apps and from other places. Smart cameras will utilize notifications in a similar way. The way these cameras work is when the camera detects motion, it will send a notification to your smartphone or your smart device. showing the name of the camera that detected the motion and the time at which it was detected.
From Arlo Secure, motion detected on Cam 1 at 4:32 p.m.
You then will tap on that notification. It will open up automatically into the Arlo app and you can see what's going on. Now, there are two types of notifications with this system. There are smart notifications and standard. If you're using the Arlo Secure AI/cloud recording service, you will get what they call smart notifications. Now, these work is when the camera detects motion, the AI servers at Arlo will determine exactly what that motion is, be it a person, animal, vehicle, or package. And it will send, along with the notification to your smartphone or your smart device, a thumbnail of that identified motion, person, animal, vehicle, or package, which is kind of cool. I mean, not just for security, but I mean, if you're in a business situation, either at home or at your workplace, and you're expecting a package, right? And you get a notification and there's a picture of the package, you know it was delivered, so then you could send somebody down to go pick it up for you. Or go get it yourself, right? You know, don't be lazy. Go get it. Just go get it yourself. Yeah. No, so you can see the possibilities there for security and other purposes. It's a pretty cool feature. However, just to be clear, the Arlo Secure service is a subscription service. And contrary to popular understanding, you do not need any subscription service whatsoever to use these cameras. This is a standalone system, folks. You are going to get 4K streaming. You are going to get notifications. You are going to get full recording capability with the Smart Hub and an SD card, and you are going to get full access to all of it, both locally and remotely, without having any other service whatsoever. This is a standalone system. I just wanted to make sure that was clear because it seems too many people have shied away from these cameras because they thought they had to get something else to make them work, and you don't. So the speed at which you receive notifications with this system is going to depend on three main things. Number one, your internet connection. Number two, your Wi-Fi system, and to some extent, your smartphone or your smart device. That said, Arlo states that the minimum requirement for use of the Ultra 2 cameras is that you have an internet upload speed of at least 3 megabits per second per camera. Say that 10 times fast. And since we're talking about two cameras here, that means 6 megabits per second. But when I installed these cameras, I had the least expensive, bare bones DSL service you could possibly imagine. And my total internet upload speed, and I tested this, was 0.5 megabits per second and not 6. But despite that disparity, I was still able to get notifications in a reasonable amount of time. They weren't lightning fast. I mean, most of them came in around 5 to 6 seconds, some of them 10 seconds, and some of them longer, but most of them in a reasonable amount of time. In fact, I was even able to confront two individuals at two different times who decided they wanted to walk around my house between 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning when they weren't supposed to be there. I got the notification that woke me up. I went and looked at the phone. I had a smart notification, so I had a thumbnail. It was a picture of a person. And I tapped that, went into the application library, and I saw the person walking around, put on some clothes, got a flashlight, and yes, a weapon. And I went out and I confronted these guys. And let's just say that they were kind of shocked that someone knew they were there. Hasty exits they make. So the reason I mention this is that if you need security, you have a need for security, and you don't have the exact minimum requirements listed for these cameras, you can still potentially make them work in a reasonable way. Ultimately, my ISP upgraded my system to a fiber optic system, and now my notifications come in like 1 second or less. But I was very happy that with my bare bones DSL system, I was getting them at all, and I was getting them in a reasonable manner, and I think you can too. So your recordings with these cameras will be stored in two ways. Actually, there's a third way, but that's kind of a fun hack, and I'll talk about that later. If you're using the Arlo Secure service, your recordings will be stored on the Arlo servers in an online library that you can access using your smartphone or a smart device. If you're using your Smart Hub to store your recordings, you'll access them in exactly the same way using a smartphone or a smart device. Point of note, if you want to access your Smart Hub remotely, meaning if you go out of town or you go out of the country or something like that, you will need to set up that connection. That's not something that Arlo is going to do for you. which is okay. It's pretty easy to do. You're either going to set up a VPN, which some routers already have, or you're going to do what they call port forwarding. And Arlo does provide guidance on how to do those in the app itself. Okay, as far as the fun hack goes, all that has to do with is streaming. Just say you're streaming one of your cameras to your smartphone and you like a scene you see or you want to record a section of it. You could just download a screen recorder and record that scene right to your phone itself, which is kind of fun. There's no guarantee you're going to get a 4K recording in that. You just have to check to make sure. But anyway, just an idea. Also, as far as the remote access speed to the recordings go, I found it very interesting that whether using the online library or using Smart Hub, the access speed was virtually the same. Very, very similar. And I actually drove out of state to do this as well. So I found that interesting. I thought that the access to the Arlo servers would be a lot faster, but it turns out that they were pretty close. Again, your mileage will vary depending on your connection and where you are, I suppose, as well. So lastly, I just wanted to address a question about reducing the resolution of the camera to try to save space on an SD card. And it turns out that that is not even necessary to do because the Smart Hub has a feature in it which will allow you to do continuous recording. And it's called automatic overwrite. And the way that works is that when the SD card gets to a certain place, I think it's 10%, it gets below 10%, the Smart Hub will automatically overwrite the earliest clip on the SD card, which is kind of a cool feature. That means you will have continuous recording after that, and you don't even need to replace the SD card. Kind of a nice feature. Granted that you don't want those early clips, and you have checked them, right? Granted, you don't want those. All right, it's time for the Arlo Ultra 2 security camera features summary. Here we go. Resolution up to 4K, 3840 by 2160. Yes, on your home network, you will get 4K resolution, both on streaming and on your recorded clips. The cameras can also output lower resolutions. All right, format, H.265 and H.264. These are the codecs that the camera uses to compress the footage for you. I found that the 4K clips will use the codec of H.265 and the 1080p clips use H.264. Weatherproof. Yes, these cameras are weatherproof. They can be used outside or inside. High dynamic range. I checked this out. I have one camera actually that's in the path of the sun, and I didn't have any washed out clips at all. The dark areas too had a little more detail. So I think that it's utilizing that contrast pretty well and it's working pretty well. Integrated spotlight. Yes, you can have that spotlight come on automatically when the camera detects motion, or you can turn it on and off utilizing the Arlo app. Color night vision. Yes, but they should call it something else. Night vision tends to infer infrared, which the cameras also have. In fact, that's what I used to catch those two clowns that were walking around my property. The infrared system works quite well. However, color night vision really means it's going to utilize the spotlight to give you color video. So it should be called something like color video at night utilizing light or something. You can also augment that with motion lights of your own as well. Auto zoom and tracking. I tested this as well, and I have a clip of this actually. I had already cleared some of the snow there. You can see how the camera zooms in on me. And then it will track me up the stairs and then over to the door. This also is not a premium feature. This is included in the standard package, by the way. The resolution of the footage using auto zoom and tracking is 1080p, just to note. 12x digital zoom. Yes, this is a pinch zoom situation since we're talking about touch screens. And you will be able to zoom both the streaming video and the recorded clips as well, which is very cool. Two-way audio, tested this, works fine. If you have an older phone with a substandard microphone, it's going to be more difficult for people to hear you through the camera than if you have a good microphone. And the same goes with the speaker in your phone. That's pretty much with any system. If you have a good microphone and a good speaker, then the clarity is very good outside, coming out of the camera and as well coming from the camera. Just a note, if you have a slower connection, like my DSL system used to be, there is some latency in the audio. But the better the connection, the less the latency. That's the way that works. Dual band Wi-Fi, yes, 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. The 5 gigahertz frequency was added after a previous system, and I think that is what is being used to give you the extended range of these cameras, the distance from the Smart Hub. Range up to 300 feet, that is a line of sight measurement. In actuality, in practical use, that is going to be reduced by each wall, ceiling, or other major obstruction between the camera and the Smart Hub. That said, I did a test. I took the camera off its mount and I used my phone, and I walked out about 75 feet from the house, down a hill and up the street, and I was still getting a decent image up until about 105 to 110 feet. That's when it started to break up. The obstructions between the camera and the Smart Hub at that time included a huge granite slab, countless trees, and about 5 or 6 walls. So there were a lot of obstructions there, and I was still able to get a signal at about 100 feet. It broke up a little bit after that, though. All right. Wire-free motion detection. Yep, that's how these work, basically. Adjustable up to 25 feet. You can adjust the sensitivity of the motion sensor, which is actually kind of cool. I did notice that it actually will send me notifications at a further distance than 25 feet. 30, sometimes 35 feet, I would get notifications. So that's pretty cool. Adjustable sound detection. Yes, you can actually set rules so that you can set alarms or notifications or set recording up with sound when the specific sound level is reached. This is extremely sensitive, by the way. You can use this in a very professional setting if you needed to. I had inadvertently left it on, and I was getting notifications from crickets and insect sounds and birds and squirrel farts, all kinds of stuff. So that's very, very sensitive. Automatic email alerts and push notifications. I use the push notifications almost exclusively, simply because they work so well, and I, like everyone else, I get way too many emails already. But you can use both. If you're going to set up the email alerts, I would recommend doing it sooner than later, just because you want to do that when you're setting up your account. If you wait too long, then you have to verify emails, and it can take longer and might be a little more difficult. So I would recommend doing that right away if you want it. Email alerts. Rechargeable battery and AC power options. There are 2 types of batteries. There's a standard battery that comes with the kit usually, and then you can purchase an XL battery later on as a replacement. Arlo states that the standard batteries can get up to 6 months on a single charge, and the XL batteries can get up to 12 months on a single charge. And while this is very possible, I think that's under specific conditions. In practical use, the battery life is going to vary with usage, basically. That said, I did test the batteries out, and one battery would work for a very long time if it didn't get much use, and another one that was in a high traffic area needed to be charged sooner. But it's kind of a moot point if you get an exterior charging cable and an AC power supply, because you will not need to charge the batteries at that point because they will be continually powered, which is what I have now. All right. Weather resistant, operating temperature -4 degrees Fahrenheit to 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Some of you know I live in the Northeast, and the temperature up here in the wintertime gets way below -4. It was -20 to -25, and the cameras were fine. In the summer, it gets in the 90s, sometimes mid to high 90s for certain days. Cameras were fine. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't work at 113. Use with smart home applications. I did test this system with Apple HomeKit, and it does integrate quite well. You can utilize the voice assistant Siri to open the cameras and place them on different screens and things like that. You do have some functionality in the app for the cameras, but you'll have much, much more functionality in the Arlo app itself. Speaking of the app is very solid, comprehensive, and well thought out. It requires iOS version 11 or higher for Apple devices and Android version 5.0 or higher for Android devices. In conclusion, I just wanted to say that if set up properly, I think the Ultra 2 cameras are a home run. If you have a need for security and you're looking for a camera solution, I would not hesitate to get these. You cannot put a price on peace of mind. So if you're interested in getting these, I'll put a link to them in the description down below. And I think Arlo is currently offering a 30-day free trial of that secure service we talked about with that package. So you can check that out as well. All right, that is it for this review. Hope you found it useful. Once again, if you haven't done so already, please don't forget to subscribe and or follow. Hit that notification bell, click on the like button, and leave me a comment down below. This is Lawrence Ryan, and I'll see you on the other side.